Step back in time to the 276-year Ming Dynasty when concubines faced dreadful tragedies. For generations, these women were subjected to the whims of their male overlords, living in a world of oppression and torture. Want to know how horrifying it was? This truth about the life of a Ming concubine will leave you stunned. From the gleaming palaces to the dark recesses of the harem. Join us as we unravel the mysteries of this bloody period in Chinese history. The Ming Dynasty ruled China for nearly 300 years, from 1368 to 1644. The story focuses on the years 1400 to 1450, when China produced some of the most magnificent artifacts and paintings ever created. During this period, the lovely young concubines were treated to one final meal in the Forbidden City's luxurious dining hall on the night they were to die. As the name implies, ordinary Beijing inhabitants were barred access to this magnificent palace. Yet rumors of the delight severed at the imperial table had reached the outside world. Deep-fried sparrows and sauteed genital parts of male donkeys were claimed to be served with premium appetizers such as white horse ovaries. The honorees on this particular occasion, on the other hand, were unlikely to be hungry. Emperor Yongle reigned from 1402 to 1424. While power was often passed down from father to son, Yongle usurped the throne from his nephew, the second emperor Janwen, who was assassinated when his imperial palace was set on fire by Yongle's troop. Yongle liked 30 girls very much. Upon his death in the summer of 1424, they were given the blood-red square of silk that every member of the royal harem dreaded. It meant they had been chosen to show their eternal devotion to Yongle by following him to his tomb. Following the death of earlier emperors, concubines were compelled to put themselves on fire or be buried alive in their master's tomb. The sight of their emaciated bodies swaying in the chilly night breeze had to have been heartbreaking. But it's a testament to the cruelty of the Ming overlords that these wretched creatures were almost fortunate to have this means of suicide chosen for them. One of the most heinous deeds occurred in 1421, when he discovered that a favorite concubine had committed suicide after being caught sharing her bed with a eunuch. Such affairs, as liaisons with eunuchs were known, were emotional rather than physical. But it is thought in this case the lovers may have employed Chinese sex aids such as bronze reproductions of the male organ. Yongle could not bear such betrayal. In retaliation, the king directed that all 2,800 of his concubines be stabbed to death by royal guards. The royal harem's floor was covered in blood after the killing spree. Even though these early rulers were pitiful, they did manage to reorganize the government, rooting out unscrupulous officials who had long abused positions of power for their own political and financial benefits. But such changes were only effective under powerful and committed emperors, which most of Hung Wu and Yongle's successors were not. The pleasures of the harem were too distracting. Some Ming emperors had 9,000 concubines, many of whom had been kidnapped from their families and were forbidden to leave the harem unless when summoned to the emperor's bed. They couldn't walk to his rooms because of the Chinese proclivity for foot binding, so they were carried by eunuchs naked, except for an imperial yellow robe wrapped around them. Zhengda, the 11th Ming ruler who ascended in 1505, got dissatisfied with his concubines and preoccupied with experiencing life as an average citizen. He directed his subordinates to construct a mock-up of a market on the royal grounds. They had to dress like merchants and dealers, while he dressed as a commoner. Anyone who tried to kowtow was brutally punished. Soon after, Zhengda began disguising himself and frequenting local brothels. These sexual adventures lasted until he was 30, when he fell into a canal while inebriated and died from the illness that resulted. But his successor, Jing, was unable to restrain his sexual desires. Now you have just experienced the eye-opening truth of the Ming Dynasty. Thank you for watching. If you find this video informative, please like and subscribe for more information on history, culture, and society.